This is what my website says on my About page. A physical education teacher, secretary and accounts administrator, special needs advocate, coach, speaker, and author all enter the same room. And the audience rolls around with laughter, later telling her she has a quick wit and a wonderful sense of humour. And amazingly, she was awarded the greatest guru of the event. And what an event it was. And as you can see, I'm here with my moo cow. But to be perfectly honest with you, it wasn't always like that. I was often stressed and worried, and I have to admit, I would have a tipple or two here and there. In fact, more than here and there. And amazingly, somehow I was functional. But I think I've changed, and I changed once I'd heard something called the three principles. And I'm not going to go into that in detail here, but I just wanted to point out that I didn't have an aha moment. I didn't have one of those times when suddenly something amazing happened to me. It was incremental, it was slow for me. And I can tell you, I was a bossy old cow. I made sure that everyone did what I wanted to. I was the only one that knew what to do. It was either my way or the highway. And I wanted to be in control of absolutely everything. Now, I want to go back a bit and tell you about my childhood and how my parents were, old fashioned. I mean, I'm a grandma, and my parents were from a different generation completely from me. So that's quite a long time ago now. Anyway, the interesting thing was that my father was a stickler for etiquette. So I was brought up to learn that where to put the knives and even which way around the knife goes, which side your rolls go, the bread rolls, which side the glasses go, and the order of the cutlery from out to in, etc. Um, and yeah, it was just something that he was very, very insistent on. Now, I was brought up, as I said, in a generation where we were meant to be seen and not heard. Um, and when I had an opinion, when I said it, it was like people were aghast. It was terrible. I was an opinionated old cow. I still am to a certain extent, but I hope that my corners have been rounded. But as for being funny, well, I don't know. I mean, my father didn't think I was funny at all. But then he had a very interesting uh, take on life. He had a tough life, and he had an interesting way of looking at things. Like he would sit there with my mum sometimes watching the television, and they would get cotton wool and they would put them into balls and throw them at the television when they were angry or didn't like something. So they were full of fun, but it was a different sense of humour to me. Now I have a quirky sense of humour. This sort of thing I think is funny. I love this. I can't say I would wear them like that, and I certainly couldn't get my feet into that position anymore. Um, but I like things a bit out of the ordinary. The Now I can't tell jokes as such off the cuff. In fact, I'm probably no good at telling jokes at all. But what I can do somehow is when something comes up, a conversation starts, I'm able to come in and give my, say something that is very funny and people laugh. And the more they laugh, the more I rise to the occasion. Believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy, but having said this and sitting here in front of you like this and telling you that I'm funny and I can sit in front of a crowd and make them laugh, I'm actually, I thought I was shy. I don't think it's so much shy. I think it's that I'm actually frightened of making a mistake. Um, so, what I tend to do when I'm with a few people is I'll keep quiet. I won't say anything, especially when there's something, a discussion about something with deep meaning. I'm too terrified to say too much. And I'll wait until I get the feel of people and see whether they'll appreciate my humour. In a crowd, I don't know. I definitely rise to that occasion. And I think because of all of that, I felt it was better for me to start writing, so I became what we call an author. I don't really know what that means, but my first book was Life is a Kaleidoscope. That talks about my family. Was taken from my blog posts that I'd written. The second one is Downs and Ups, which is a play on words, because it's partly about my two children that we have with Down syndrome. Kissed by Cancer was because I was touched by and kissed by cancer basically in 2017. Rethinking relationships was something that I wrote just off the cuff, honestly. Um, Partly because I could see that people were struggling with relationships. And Uncovering the Light Within is really not my book, it's a transcription of a workshop that Dr. Dickon Bettinger did with me with 40 odd people, and I transcribed it and put it into the book, which has turned out to be very meaningful for people. Now, what I love actually is psychological thrillers. They amaze me. I just, any thriller, but psychological thrillers in particular. Um, I love to get into the minds of people. It excites me. Um, it interests me, I should say, not excites me. It interests me. It's fascinating to me. I love to see how minds work. I love to see on Netflix stuff that is written about prisoners. I love to hear their take on things, how their minds work, and see how they tick. Can't always get to the bottom of it, but I love to watch that sort of thing. I love also to read books, non-fiction books, business books, how to improve myself, gratitude books, that sort of thing. I also love, um, and as you can see here, I mean, this is not a picture of me, obviously, but I was like this. I used to have a torch underneath my bed, flashlight, some people call them, underneath my bed, and I took after my mother, who used to do the same. In fact, she used to tell me that she had no eyelashes because she used to read so much, and her parents used to tell her off when she was up late at night. Uh, I was exactly the same. I just love reading. It really thrills me. So I'm always wanting to learn as well. Now, recently, I've decided to become a vegan, um, and along with my husband and my number three son, and we've seen the benefits of being a vegan. That also is interesting to me. Now, I'm not very good at being creative and writing and making up my own recipes. I do sometimes, leave out an ingredient. That's daring of me, but I prefer to watch. To read a recipe and to copy it and see how it does. I think sort of recipes to a certain extent is a science, an art, a science. Well, I'm certainly not artistic. I'm not creative. I don't consider myself creative. What I do say though is that I remember someone once telling me, a client of mine, she came to me and she told me, because I'd every Friday she used to call me regularly for quite a few months, and I would have a conversation with her. And I'd stop everything I was doing, all my preparations for the Sabbath, which I had to get done by a certain time. I stopped and I just listened to her. And I was surprised to hear that she told me a while afterwards, Sue, what I love about you is that you always give me your time, and you make me feel like I'm the only person in the world and that you have all the time in the world for me. Now, I didn't do this on purpose, and I'm not saying this to brag, just saying that I do it because that's part of my essence. And what is your essence? It's interesting to see, isn't it, what we would do, what we do, that we don't even consider a chore, that's something that we love to do, that we give our time, give whatever it is to someone. And I'm a giver. I actually don't like to receive. In fact, it's not that I don't like to receive, it's more that I don't know how to react. And sometimes, therefore, I underreact or overreact because I'm not sure how much I should be saying, oh, this is amazing. Thank you for this amazing gift. Or, oh, that's really nice. Thank you. So I haven't come to see what is the middle road. Now, I did mention about my learning, and I love to learn. One of the things that is probably I don't think it's a failing because it's really learning. I mean, I love gadgets, but not gadgets in the way my father did. He would bring home the latest things. In fact, I remember one time he brought home this potato peeler, and he plugged it in and he put water in and put a potato in the middle and turned it on, and water and potato peel all over the kitchen. My mother was having a mini hissy fit, and we were laughing. It was hilarious. I thought that was very funny. That sort of thing, that sort of quirky thing, tickles me pink, makes me laugh. Not because it's at the expense of other people, just because I can see the funny side of it. It is funny seeing things, around the room like that, flying around the room when you expect something completely different. So, expectations, really, putting them aside. So anyway, going back, I love to learn. So my gadgets are different courses, and I've learned all sorts of things along the way. Um, so yeah, that's really me in a nutshell. Oh, I didn't say, did I, that I love to work out. I have got no idea why this is down here like that. Isn't that fun? So just shows you how vulnerable we can be as well. I messed up here and I put this slide completely wrongly. I'm sure it was right before, but clearly it is not now. Anyway, I like to work out. I work out on weights 3 times a week. I also go on the treadmill since certainly since Corona started for over an hour and a quarter. Um, and I found that it's really helped. In fact, it's helped me so much that it's made sure that I've reversed my osteoporosis to osteopenia, which people say could never happen. We'll have to get rid of that slide, won't we? Because that definitely didn't work. Anyway, that is me. I am Sue Lachman, and I'm glad to meet you. I'd love to hear from you if you've got anything to tell me. Um, who are you? Who do you think you are? Let me know at sue@suelachman.com. Love to hear from you. And if you've got any inclination at all, you could go to my website www.suelachman.com. Thank you.